The City of Lloydminster and Lakeland College are looking to maintain their strong bond. The two have renewed their facility use agreement. The connection the city has with the college is solid, and it's looking to ensure that relationship remains strong in the future.
That relationship dates back for a long ways from even before we talk about recreation. We can talk about the Vic Juba Theatre, a three-way relationship between the city, Lakeland College, and the Vic Juba board, the donations that went into building that facility and continues to operate.
Since originally partnering in 2015, the college and the city have entered two 3-year agreements. This week's agreement was signed for the next 5 years.
Proposing a 5-year agreement, which I think is a great idea. It shows an increase in value on the cost to the students, but understanding we know inflation's a part of that as well, but it's still a great buy for students, as well as ensuring our facilities get as much use as possible.
The facility use agreement allows Lakeland College students full-time use of the BioClean Aquatic Center and the Service Sports Center during the school term. Now here are your agriculture prices for today. Today marked the beginning of beach volleyball at the Saskatchewan Summer Games in Lloydminster. Our Lane Hoffert has more.
Beach volleyball has officially begun at the Saskatchewan Summer Games at Bud Miller Park. The volleyball courts are buzzing with excitement as athletes from all over the province are competing to be crowned gold medalists in the sport. Adam Treptow, who is one of the athletes from the Rivers West District, says the event has been a great way to meet other athletes.
It's great. There's a lot of new people you meet, lots of friends. Yeah, love the village, it's sick.
According to Treptow, the road to being able to compete in the Saskatchewan Summer Games is a long and winding one that requires weeks of training.
5 weeks. 5 weeks, lots of practices. Yeah.
Despite playing beach volleyball now and competing in the Sask Summer Games, Treptow's athletic career did not begin on the sand, but rather on the ice instead.
I started with hockey actually, moved to volleyball. Yeah, kind of found love in volleyball. It's good.
With the first day of beach volleyball now in the books, Treptow and the other athletes are getting prepared for the playoffs, which begin tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Not today. I've got playoffs tomorrow. Hopefully we'll do good.
Beach volleyball, along with the rest of the Saskatchewan Summer Games, will continue both tomorrow and Saturday. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News.
Basketball also got underway today at the Games in the brand new gym at LCHS. Rivers West didn't have the strongest start to pool play, however, dropping Game 1 to Lakeland 79-27.
We had the first game jitters, and once we got over that, we picked it together in the second half. It was a learning experience for everyone.
Despite the tough start, head coach Denzel Gopher believes his team will bounce back and enjoy themselves at the Saskatchewan Summer Games.
This is my first time coaching at SAS Games. I was a past player before, back in the day. I always say I have the best seat in the house because I get to watch, their dreams come to life from the best point of view. Win or lose, we're going to go have fun.
Basketball for the boys will continue at LCHS, while girls basketball is taking place at St. Thomas. Co-ed baseball also got underway today at the Hospital Diamonds in Lloyd. Rivers West didn't have the start they wanted, dropping their first game to Saskatoon 23-2. They'll look to bounce back against Southeast and Parkland Valley in their next 2 pool games. With the wildfires in Jasper and other places of the province, the air quality index has been affected. Abby St. John spoke with meteorologist Peter Quinlan to get more information on the air quality and how we'll be affected.
I'm very happy to be joined here today by Global Saskatoon meteorologist Peter Quinlan. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Abby.
Of course. Now, over the last little bit, or at least what I've noticed, with the wildfires and smoke, we do have those very smoky conditions. Now, over the last week, I've been kind of taking a look at the air quality index, and that has been fluctuating a lot. Sometimes it being at 11 and then 7, and that all changes throughout one day period. So, can we first start talking about why that air quality index might be fluctuating the way it is and what it kind of means too?
Yeah, they're largely due to minute changes in the wind direction. So basically, we get the air that is upstream of Lloydminster moving in. So if we have a wind directly from the west or sort of from the Jasper area, we get smoke from those Jasper fires. If we get the winds from kind of the northwest, we get those fires, the smoke from the fires in those areas. But there's a bit of a slot kind of directly to the northwest that there's less fire activity, and sometimes when we get the winds from that direction, it moves the smoke, or it makes it so it's less smoky. But when we get it due from the west and due from the northwest, that's when we get the smokier conditions. And then it all kind of depends if we get into an easterly wind where the smoke has moved and whether it's going to move back in. So it's quite variable and very difficult to predict.
And from what you have seen, in a prediction kind of way, what could we possibly be seeing over the next few days with that air quality index?
Yeah, it looks like we may see some improvement on the air quality tomorrow. On Friday, we will likely see some deterioration of that air quality again Saturday, Sunday, as we get into a bit more of an influence that draws in some of that wildfire smoke from parts of BC and the Jasper fire area. On Saturday, it looks like we will see some smoke from those fires in northern Alberta. Then we may see a bit of a break early Sunday, more smoke sliding in as we take you through the end of that period. So it's going to be quite variable later next week when we get into a bit of a southwest wind. We'll still likely see some haze in the air, but it might not be quite as smoky at times. So it's going to be quite a whirlwind, up and down yo-yo scenario in terms of the air quality health index.
So it's going to fluctuate. It's going to continue
Yes.
to fluctuate, basically, which
Hmm.
makes sense. And in considering there's fires from all different directions as well, that could prove to be a little bit more difficult too. Now, earlier during the press conference for the Jasper fires, they were talking about humidity and rainfall and how rainfall may not always be helpful with fires, but humidity could play a part in helping kind of tamper the fires. Can we talk a little bit about how humidity will play a part in the wildfires and the weather that we experience?
So one of the things that caused the Jasper fire to spark up so substantially was we had a few really dry days, some of the hottest days we've ever actually seen in the Jasper area earlier in the weekend and last week, as well as early this week, with 30-degree heat. The humidity values dropped into the teens at times. So whenever the humidity drops below the temperature, that is when we get what we call a crossover period, where we get explosive fire growth and development. So when the humidity raises up, and today it's been up in a 91 even into the middle of the day, that makes the fire less active because it's more moist and there's more moisture in the fuels. So it just makes it so there's less fire activity, and it helps crews start to get the upper hand. Although this fire is spreading so much, there isn't a ton of rain as well. We've been seeing some spotty showers, which definitely helps, but there is also really not a major dosing of water, which is what we need at this point.
Yes, for sure. And humidity may make you feel sticky, but
Yeah.
if it helps with the wildfires, I think that's definitely a positive thing to have for right now, at least. Now, we are also under a extreme thunderstorm watch, so a lot of different weather periods happening right now. But we are currently under that watch. What are some things that we could be looking out for in terms of the of thunderstorms over the next little bit as well?
So this severe thunderstorm watch is for the possibility of large hail, heavy rain, strong wind gusts, and the potential for an isolated tornado. And we will watch these. These are kind of situations that we need to keep an eye on through the afternoon and evening hours as they develop, as we see where those storms pop up. We've got a cold front that's sweeping through across the province, and it's moving into Saskatchewan. And as a result, that's what's kicking up this potential for strong, severe thunderstorms. And along that, we're going to likely see a band of it moving through in the early evening hours. So keep your eye to the sky. Get ready to head indoors when the thunder roars. Lightning kills about 10 Canadians every year, so it is something to be concerned about. But we'll have to kind of wait and see how it plays out. Sometimes those thunderstorms could dodge the Lloydminster area. Sometimes they may develop right over the city. So it's something, a watch means that conditions are favorable for that development. A warning is what we really need to be concerned with. That's when you need to start taking cover.
Yes, for sure. And it's a good thing that it is just under a watch. It always is a good thing to keep an eye out for it. And of course, the people can check on Environment Canada for all those weather alerts. So thank you so much for joining me today. You gave a lot of great information. So hopefully people can feel better a little bit about the air quality and all the thunderstorms and all the other weather events that we are having so far. So thank you again for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Abby.
It is time now to have a look at all of the pet pictures you've been sharing with us for our Pets of the Day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
The city of Cold Lake is working on getting all its servers back online after a cyber attack breached its security systems. I spoke to the city about the attack that could have been much worse.
I am speaking with Kevin Nagoya from the city of Cold Lake today, and we're talking about something that has happened with your systems, computer systems at the city, and it's affecting things. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, a couple days ago there on Tuesday early morning, we did have a cyber attack. An intruder did get through some of our firewall that is equipped and was able to encrypt various aspects of the city server. That being said, and it brought down the system basically corporate wide at this point because the system itself has safety failures systems. So in order to isolate itself, IT was able to bring everything down, and right now we're in recovery mode.
How has that impacted, people in the city?
Quite substantially, of course. Lots of people use the like our payments that are online system, development permits, anything including like energy center, being able to pay with a credit card or debit card. So all of those facets throughout the organization has been impacted as the servers did go down. And even our phones. So internally, we don't have phones, and our workstations are all encrypted as well.
It's a really difficult time at the office these days for you guys.
Yeah. Likely though, on that side is that right now, of course, the way our servers and our systems are designed, we are very compartmentalized. So when the viruses were being entered into the system and the encryptions and the algorithms that are being used, they do have a hard time, it seems, to being able to cross from one server to the next. That requires further kind of authentications and whatnot. So you may enter into one area, but you can't kind of go into others, and everything else is being brought down at a safety measure. At this time, there has been no kind of evidence of any sensitive data being released or downloaded from the city. Those do sit on separate servers from the city, and those are still operating behind the scenes, despite that we don't have our workstations and stuff like that up online at this point.
I understand you've been able to isolate this to an IP address in Russia. It sounds like cloak and dagger stuff. What have you found out?
Cloak and dagger stuff, it can be, but I don't want to misconstrue anything that it was like a Russian area. You can do VPNs from just about anywhere in the world, including even if I did it right from my laptop here today, that I can VPN to Russia and then back or wherever in the world pretty much these days, right? Utilizing all these softwares and whatnot. So although that the last origin kind of came from Russia, that last connection, I don't know right now where in the world that it may have been otherwise. I don't want to lay that at just that IP address is known to be utilized in these types of incidents in Russia. Yes.
Okay. So I guess what is the next step? You were talking about getting the affected systems and everything back online. How is that going?
Well, that's going pretty good. Our IT has been working pretty long hours and then making sure that everything's kind of secured. We are going to do a staged recovery just to make sure that there is no other vulnerabilities as you bring the system online, because if it's still infected, you never know that the system might want to be able to dispatch information. We want to make sure it's testing behind the scenes before we go online fully. So it's going to be staged over the next couple of days, and hopefully that goes well. The workstations will take a little bit longer because, of course, we have multiple, like hundreds of computers that are through the organization, which it will take individuals to go from each computer to be able to kind of wipe them and then being able to stand those back up. The one thing I did want to note was the water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, kind of all the environmentally sensitive computers. We do again have them compartmentalized, and they were not affected in this, and were not touched by the intruders trying to get into the system. So that was very positive on that. And what's helping with bringing everything back online very quickly is that not only do we have kind of duplicate backups that run on stream and online, is also we do have backups that are taken right offline. So they're disconnected and taken off-site daily. So therefore, everything has a recoverable. So it's not just one way of backing up. We have multiple backups that are stored at different locations, both online and offline. And that definitely helps with this. So at any organization that that has to suffer through these, those are definitely things that you want to make sure that you're doing, and it's very well helping us on our recovery mode.
Kevin, you mentioned no sensitive information was stolen. Is that what the ultimate goal of these individuals or parties are trying to do?
Well, don't ever know what their full intent of what they're trying to do in these regards. It's probably in one form of fashion, cash is king, right? So it's about money at the end of the day, and being able to either sell data or being able to uncrypt your computers to be able to get a money transaction to uncrypt your data, which doesn't always work all the time. So keeping everything as sensitive as possible. And like I said, at this time, we have not been able to see any evidence that any data has been taken from the city in this regard.
Maybe this is a silly question, but any idea how it got into your systems?
Well, I do have information in that regard. That said, I don't want to go there in terms of details at this point, because the system is coming back online and we do have to monitor it very closely just to see what's happening. So it will be a time as the investigation kind of, I'll be able to say publicly that type of information, but just for the sake of the security, I don't want to go there in detail yet.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time today, and I appreciate it. Hopefully everything gets back to normal where you are.
Coming up after the break, we will have an extended look at the weather forecast.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the future radar here, and we have a lot of fun stuff happening over the next few hours and into the morning here. As you can see, a heavy system. It's moving in there into Brandon tomorrow morning, but it's going to be coming up through Thursday, up through Regina, up through Saskatoon. We're going to be seeing even a little bit kind of coming through Lloydminster on the Alberta side, and then it's hitting Brandon over there. And so that's where those heavy winds, those heavy thunderstorms are coming in, and they're going to be coming through the bottom half of the province and even hitting us a little bit up here in the center part as well. Provinces, of course. Taking a look at the current temperatures in the central part of Alberta and Saskatchewan, Lloydminster sitting at 20 degrees right now, 18 for Cold Lake. We go further out west and it gets quite a bit cooler. Edmonton sitting at 15 today, Red Deer at 16, Athabasca at 14, 11 for Rocky Mountain House and Whitecourt, and then 9 in Edson, 8 in Jasper. On the Saskatchewan side, though, they're still plenty warm right now. North Battleford at 30 degrees right now. Saskatoon at 32. Melfort at 27. Prince Albert at 29. And Meadow Lake also at that 27-degree mark. Taking a look now at the southern part of Saskatchewan, we're sitting at 32 for Moose Jaw and Regina. Estevan all the way up to 34. Swift Current at 33. Yorkton at 29. Kindersley at 28 degrees. On the Alberta side, we've got Calgary sitting at 27, 23 for Coronation, and 32 in Medicine Hat. But you get further out west there, that's Lethbridge at 27, Calgary at 16, and then Banff further out west is sitting at 14 degrees. So a little bit cooler more in the west, but in the eastern part of Saskatchewan and the eastern part of Alberta, they're still plenty warm right now. Taking a look at tomorrow's forecast here in Lloydminster, it's going to be mostly sunny in the morning at 6 a.m. there, 11 degrees, but then at noon, 18 degrees. It'll warm up a little bit there. 6 p.m. we're going to get to 16, and then at midnight we're going to see some showers, and it's going to be 12 degrees. Taking a look elsewhere, we're going to have North Battleford at 23 degrees. They're going to be windy and cooler, but still plenty of sun and cloud there. And then Cold Lake is also going to be seeing some more rain on top of the thunderstorms that they're having tonight, and so a high of 15 for them tomorrow. 94% chance of that precipitation hitting them tomorrow morning. But we're just going to take a quick look at the travel forecast. It's similar across the entire region here. We're seeing 17s in Meadow Lake, Isle Cross, and Paradise Hill, but a little bit warmer in Provost at 23 degrees, but plenty windy and with rain all across the region. And then we're going to be seeing rain in Muirnam and Pierceland, and some warmer temperatures in Unity and Calgary, but lots of wind as well in Wainwright. And finally, as we mentioned, it's going to warm up a little bit as these next few days go by, though we are going to possibly be seeing a thunderstorm and some rain on Tuesday, but warming up to 27, 29 for Sunday and Monday coming up this week.
All right, that's all that we have for you this evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good night.